Hey everyone, in this video I want to share with you guys the highest paying jobs for photography that might need a little bit more experience but are definitely at the upper echelon when it comes to money in their pockets. So without further ado, let's get into it. Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Sergio and I'm a commercial photographer here in Victoria, BC, and the highest paying job in photography revolves around advertising. Ads run the world. It's no secret. You see them everywhere. You see them online, you see them in person, you see them on TV, you see them everywhere. Advertising is the reason that the capitalist economy works. The money goes as an investment to the companies that are targeting the people who are spending money back onto those companies as a full circle. So if you focus on the advertising side of photography, you can almost guarantee money in your pockets. Within advertising, there is always a need for promotion. There's always a need for pictures, video, whatever it is. As an advertising photographer, you're kind of guaranteeing yourself a steady income as long as you can diversify your client portfolio. Because in advertising, like I said, it runs the world. It's what we see everywhere, on every bus stop, at every, like every third post that you scroll through on Instagram. Everything is an ad. Everything is created by someone in order to make you feel a certain way and hopefully spend money on that company. That might be a digital asset, but that also might be a photography asset, and that's where you and I can come in. I think if you focus on trying to be a photographer in the advertising realm, so that means thinking of the services that your pictures are actually offering. Think of the commercial value that your images can have. Think of the skills that you have built over the last few years of working with a camera in your hands. How can those help clients and businesses on a consistent level, on a consistent basis? That's what working in advertising is, at least to me. There's obviously different levels and it's day to day, everything is different. But to me, I think working in advertising as a photographer is providing a service to commercial businesses at the very start in your area. When it comes to working in advertising, it's never just about the one client that hired you for those images, because we deal with licensing. We deal with how the images get used and where they'll end up being used. And that's what actually affects the money in our pocket, not just the actual shooting, the day that we're actually shooting. So I can take an image on a certain day and get paid by that client who hired me to take it. But if there's no exclusivity, I can go back and I can sell that image to other brands and other companies that might have use for it. So if I'm shooting interiors and I take a really nice picture of a kitchen, for example, well, sure, the interior designer that designed that kitchen might have hired me to take the pictures, but there is a cabinet maker that helped build those cabinets. There's an appliance company that supplied the appliances for that kitchen. There's a furniture company that supplies all the furniture. All of those different companies, all of those brands have need for these pictures. And sure, they might not all buy your image, but there is a possibility that multiple different companies might buy the same single image. And that's how you can really, maximize the amount of money in your pockets, because working in advertising, you're providing services to businesses that want to make money off those images. So you win when they win, and they win when you win. So it's an easy sell. It's an easy handshake, because you're like, hey, I can do a thing, you need a thing to get done. There's no convincing that has to happen, which in this next part, you do have to do a little bit of convincing. And that's portraiture. Now, this next step for portraiture, I think, is something that attracts a whole lot of people. A lot of you want to be portrait photographers. I wanted to be a portrait photographer. I think it's something that is very easily accessible and is something that gives, you can be one-on-one with someone and you both have a fantastic time and you get to create something that you both have never seen before, that you're both proud of, and you can share and you can create and you connect, and it's a fun time. I get it. It's nice. It's fun. And at the upper level of it, I still think that you can be one of the highest paid photographers if you're working in the entertainment industry. Now think of the highest budgets in the portrait world. Think of who has the most need for photography and as well the biggest budget in order to pay you for that photography. And in this world, it's the entertainment. Unfortunately, it's not the people who save your lives, but it is the people who entertain you during your mundane life. So that means it's the magazines, that's the modeling agencies, that's the different industries in your area that have these high profile faces that need consistent new marketing and advertising. It's not always about working with the same people over and over and over again, but if you work with a magazine that is always giving you this first round pick of whatever sport was just drafted and we need to do a story on this person and their family in this city. Being at that level, being at that consistent, I'm always working on a different photo story or photo project or working with different brands or different magazines, that's how you can be a very, very successful photographer. But in order to get that, that's shooting portraits with your friends. That's going to your neighbor and asking them to pose in front of a white wall so that you can practice some Rembrandt lighting. That's going to everyone around you and being, that trusted source to take their picture, and you always the person with a camera in their hands, and that's how that starts. It's being, the photographer that everyone you're the photographer person. Of course, it's you. You're the person with a camera always. You have to be that person, and if you can do that for 20 years and get lucky 100 million times, maybe you'll end up shooting Rob De Niro before he dies. But until then, you're kind of having to put all of these tiny little steps in, because again, there's no shortcuts in photography. There's no you wake up and you're like, oh, now I'm shooting celebrity portraits. No, unfortunately, that's not how it works. But you can get to a level where, I think Joey L was 28. He was under 30 when he was taking all of these amazing celebrity portraits with De Niro as well. So it is possible. You can do it, and you can get lucky, and you can put the work in. And I think that's, how you can, it's a path that you can take, and that that there is going to be money in it. I think there's a large middle section that is very void. I think in portraiture that doesn't necessarily exist in advertising, or at least less so. A lot of people will have $100 or $200 to spend on pictures, and not a whole lot of people will have $1,000 to spend on pictures. So if you want to be a consistent and full-time booked photographer, there's going to be a time where you're working really hard doing stuff for $300, $200, and it's going to be a way higher level than people who are just starting out, but you have to charge the same amount because that's how much people are willing to pay. Or you get to this other level where it's you're so the trusted source, you are the absolute, there's nothing else around you that's like you, and you can charge whatever you want. And once you get to that level, sure, good for you, congratulations. But between that and the entry-level rate, there's not a whole lot of a middle section, even though you're going to be a much better photographer throughout the years of you being a photographer. I don't think there's a big change in the salary. You might be booked more often, but you'll notice the more you increase your rates, there's going to be a dead section. There's going to be a section in the middle that's not, doesn't really book very well. And then somehow at the $5,000 level, it starts rebooking again because, if they're charging that much, they must be that good. And that's kind of how you need to jump into that super high level of photography, is to not just charge $5,000 and then pocket $4,900. It's charge $5,000 and spend $6,000 to try to make the image that much better. It's always putting everything you got back into your photography, and that's how you can get better as a photographer and work with people that are around you that you're not used to working with or you don't have access to without this extra money. And by doing that, that's how you can impress the other people at that next level so that you can keep leveling up your game. Does this mean you can't be successful in any other field in photography other than advertising or portraiture? No, you can be a freelance artist and you can be super successful if you put that Instagram work in, or you put the YouTube work in or something, and you create an audience that wants to see what it is that you can create. Sure, you can go that route as well, but that is also not something that's going to be very easy or something that's going to be very quick either. You have to put that work in, and you just have to enjoy what it is that you're doing. Just know that whatever it is that you obsess over, you have to obsess over it for the next 20 years. So just pick something you like. Pick something that motivates you to keep shooting and gets you going in the morning, and has, gives you a sense of value throughout the day. Because that to me is the main reason I'm a photographer. It gives me value. It makes me feel like I'm needed in the world, and it makes me feel like I'm creating something of value for people in my neighborhood, in my industry, or even beyond that, if I'm so lucky. Anyway, that's all I've got for you guys today. I hope you guys liked it. Maybe leave a like on your way out if you would like to. That's all. Yeah. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in a couple days. Later.